Welcome to Center Heist Productions. It is March 6th, 2024. Just an hour and a half, not even that, after the game of the Preds, the Habs going to Nashville to take on the Predators. Shocking one this was. First, though, if you could assist me, muchly appreciate you hit the subscriptions down below in the right hand corner and the likes. I would muchly appreciate that, and thank you to those who are Heisomaniacs. All right, so let's get to the game. Turned out to be an overtime win for the Habs, which was shocking. This was a game where the Habs played for two periods, but we got good bounces at the end of the second. Real shocking. Two goals within 6 seconds. It was incredible just to see the way it came about. And then, our persistence in the game. We just, the Preds kept going ahead, and we just kept coming back, which was nice to see the fight. Kind of messes up my tank hopes, the way they're playing. But it was the first time we beat them since 2017, so I guess it's much due time to get this victory. An interesting game. There was some chippiness to it here and there. Sporadic. Okay, so the first period, Nashville scores. Second period, Nashville gets another one. Habs get two. That's where they got the two goals, 6 seconds apart. Then they each swapped goals in the third, and the Habs got it in overtime. A 4-3 victory, which Jake Allen had a very, very solid game, and good to see him get this one. He really kept them in this game, as there were some lapses here and there. Unfortunately, the Matheson Goalie pairing had a couple of mistakes, with Slab also involved from the front end, trying to cover for Goalie and Matheson at two different times. So two of those goals, I know Slab wasn't happy about, because he was the guy next to him trying to cover for where a defenseman should have been. And this is the continual case of, I don't understand the system they're playing. They're not playing a system to me, in the sense of zone coverage at all. They're chasing men around, because defensemen are getting caught out of the position quite frequently. However, they pulled off the victory. They kept it together. Could have been much worse. Two periods, like I said, we didn't deserve this game. Showed great fight. That those two quick goals woke us up, which was nice to see. And the Savard goal was hilarious. Just to show you, anything can happen in a game. So Jake Allen, he had a solid game. So here we go. We're going to give you the scoring. First period, it's Forsberg, which is no surprise. He tends to always have pretty strong games against the Habs, assisted by Evangelista and O'Reilly. And second period, Nyquist, assisted by Forsberg and O'Reilly. O'Reilly had a solid game. Definitely deserved to be a star, and he was. And it was Gallagher who got us on the board at 16:39 with a nice blast. And it was just like he pinpointed his shot. You were like, okay, why can't you do this all the time, Gally? Pinpoint your shots and get these. But of course, it was Jake Evans' work on the boards, and Anderson got an assist on this as well. It was Anderson to Evans. Evans made the heads-up pass out to Gally, and a beautiful goal. And it was, like I said, 6 seconds later, Savard scores, assisted by Caulfield and Suzuki. And just a real odd goal that was bounced off the glass, hit the glass on a certain spot, and Saros went to play it behind the net, but that ricochet off the glass took a shortcut and went straight into the net, and Saros was behind the net, thinking it was going back there. So who would have thought, right? I mean, it was what it was. Then we get into overtime, and Nick Suzuki scores a beautiful goal assisted by Cole Caulfield. It was finally an opening where they got the opportunity. It didn't this type of they were trying for this all night, and they could not seem to break down that play. But the overtime opened the ice up a bit for them, and beautiful shot. And Suzuki just wired that over the shoulder on that angle. You, Normally you would see Caulfield in that spot, and just a beautiful goal. That's what I like about it. So I love Suzuki's. He is got that composure for the come through moments, and I really like that within his game. It's strong. And he had a pretty solid game as well. I thought the first line was playing good. Caulfield was set up many times by Slav, and just missing. But anyway, they managed to come through when it counted in overtime, shocking all of us. And so, no, penalties was Gooley in the first period, tripping. Second period, it was Anderson fighting against Shen, and Shen's more the fighter. They held their own. I really kind of call that a draw. And then we had Harris holding. Uh, then we had Lazaro misconduct, and Carrier hooking. And then penalties for too many in the third period. Too many men was caught as well. So, which doesn't show anybody serving that penalty. So anyway, we were really outshot as well for a bit there. We started coming on in the second period with shots, 14-11 in the first for Nashville. Then it was 11-7 for the Habs, 7-7 in the third. Not many shots, you would think, but Montreal managed to get one shot in overtime, and that was all it took to win that game. And that's the way you like to see it when we're ready. I just wanted us to. The 1 point was good for me, and they went out and got two. So, yeah, looking not so positive to get that bottom five pick. But anyway, great performance by them. And it's kind of nice to finally get a win against Nashville. It's been so long. We just have such a hard time with that club. So 30 shots for the Habs, 28 for the Preds. And that was pretty good. And like I said, Allen deserved the victory. And just a very solid game by Allen. And he really held them in when times they didn't deserve to be in it. Really, like I said, this was kind of a steal by the Habs. The Gallagher goal woke them up, but the Savard goal pumped them up beyond just awakening. They've just them realizing that they had come back and they didn't deserve to be back. This deserved to be at the end of the second period. It deserved to be 2-0, and just shows you a little bit of wow. One nice pass, bang, it's in by Galley, who showed a sniper shot, roofed it, and it's like sometimes you wonder where is that shot all the time, Galley. If you could just get in that position more often, and but his legs, even though he scored, he seems to not. His skating is just not where it should be. It's like there's way too much effort that he has to make in his strides. I noticed that really because the first two periods were kind of boring to me, to tell you the truth. The first period, especially, was just I just wanted to go to sleep. The third period was the period, very lively period. But you thought the Preds every time the Habs come back and tie them, Preds would go back up one, and it was just back and forth, back and forth. But I mean, I liked seeing the fight in the Habs, and there was some good to see Josh. It looked like Josh and Shed had just because you didn't expect this fight whatsoever. You didn't see it coming, so they must have had this decided ahead of time that they were going to do this. And Shen was he's quite an unsung type of fighter. He can really go, and Josh did well. He held in. Josh can fight, we know it, but Shen I would have thought would have a little more of a fighter overall. As tough as Josh is, Shen, it's kind of your heavyweight. But anyway, they came out to me with a pretty even fight, draw. Nice fight to see. Just to see Josh get a little more involved. There were some lapses here and there. Uh, yeah, I thought the defense was all right. Had some lapses. There was one play in there where, of course, the puck got intercepted again, and I'm not sure. I think it was Matheson that passed it this time and lost it at the point, or was it Gooley? Anyway, one of the defensemen lost at the point. I'd have to go back to the tape and breakaway for the Preds, and the effort you seen Slavkovsky come back and then at the very last second knock that puck up the stick of the Preds player that had the breakaway. Beautiful comeback for Slav. So he was trying. You could definitely see his, even though he was kind of partial in on with the two defensemen that were responsible for 2 goals. He was kind of in on it as being the forward close to it, trying to cover for them. Would have taken the blame, but I really put that blame on the defenseman being out of position. I'm so tired of seeing the defensemen, and really, to me, it was Matheson and Gooley who were out of sync tonight. The other pairings were fine. Harris had some moments that were but Allen had a great showing. I don't know if this was, I don't know, was this, for the trade deadline. However, now we're going to get into that. We face Thursday night, we'll be facing Carolina, so don't expect a victory there. However, Carolina has had some struggles this season, which shocks us all. It's more so in the net. But I would expect them to walk on the Habs. Don't expect that one. This one I definitely expect about 5-2. But now we'll get into trade deadline closing in on us so fast, and we got Rumorville up the yin yang. We got a few podcasts getting it carried away with wanting to, they want to roll with the rumors. That seems to be their theme. They act like they're in Montreal's office, and not the case. Just because, we know Elliot Freeman talks and, has makes some suggestions of things he thinks are possible. That doesn't mean it's going to happen. And then you get these guys go on their podcasts and they speak it like it's the gospel. Well, that's called Rumorville. For me, I believe the Habs, from my standpoint, Habs have made their big move. The big move was Monahan. If we haven't seen one thing in the last couple of seasons, we've noticed that, the trade deadline day ends up being a flop in the last 2 seasons. Just kind of not what we all get, the hype for. And it is a downer. And that's what it's been the last 2 seasons. And I think you're going to get the same thing as far as the Habs standpoint. Now, that's just what I see. I don't. I think the cost is too high for Allen at the moment. I don't think there's enough interest in him. I think there's other goaltenders out there that are possibilities. But I don't even know if that's going to transpire right away either. There seems to be, even on the Markstrom from Calgary, a little bit of bite back from Calgary, the Flames, that they're not in a hurry either to trade him. So anyway, with Allen, I think that's going to be a situation of, and I'm always in Allen's corner, and in Montembeault. Those two, for me, I'm sorry. Primo, yes, he's improved. To me, I still will stand by what I'm saying. He's not an NHL goaltender. I stand by it. Once teams, like I said, that game against Tampa was way closer than it should have been. Like in the shootout, at least, they know his upstairs is weak on him. And I'm sorry, I like the kid, but I don't think he's strong enough to be an NHL goaltender. And I'd be shocked for him to be a backup somewhere at some point in time, like to last. What I mean, his career. I think I think the big thing is that we're looking at Allen because of his age, really. And at least Allen has proven himself. where I can say Montembeault and Allen are proven goaltenders, whereas Primo's got a lot to prove. So I'm kind of, it is what it is. It almost seems like they want to give him the chance to see what he does with it. And I say, go bring that on because he'll help us flop next year. So I say, go ahead, bring that on as that being the tag team. I hate to see Allen go because he's not had the team perform well in front of him. He hasn't had his, he was strong at the beginning of the season. Then he dipped big time because the team was no longer performing well in front of them, which they weren't doing for all three goaltenders for a bit there. But he more so showed on his games, unfortunately, with a few games. I think he's not used to that minimal. None of these goaltenders are used to that minimal of games. So that's this three-headed monster's got to end at some point. And I think you'll see that end in the offseason. I do think it will be Allen because of age. Hate to say it because he's such a great team guy and proven. That's why I say I'll be in his corner and Monty's because they're proven. Sorry, Primo, you don't do it for me, and I'm not going to sit there and change my stance because one hockey writer says one thing, and that doesn't work for me. I have my own opinion, and I stick to my opinion. I don't let anybody sway me. I go by what I see. Yes, I did see some improvements in his game. His upper blocker and trapper, he's terrible with. Once you start going high on him, sorry. As long as everything is below, knee height, he's pretty half decent. You go above that and people start shooting high, he's going to get burned. And that's going to be a bonus for us because we want another good draft in 2025. And I think when they go ahead with Monty and Primo, you're going to find out what your Primo is because he's going to get us slaughtered. And I love it because there's another, we might tank sooner. That would be nice. Although I'll say with Marty behind the bench, that's one thing I commend Marty because, you see articles again, bad writers wanting just to make a story. The love is not lost. The romance is not lost between the Habs fans and Marty. We still love. We don't have to agree with everything Marty does. Like I don't agree with the way he the double standards for younger players compared to veterans. I don't buy that. But everything else, he's a breath of fresh air compared to the stupid clowns we kept rotating around, Terrian, Claude Julien, and Divino, and just going around in this vicious cycle. It was just ridiculous. Once you've had your round, get lost. See ya. You can't just keep recycling these guys. So for me, I really like what Marty's done. He's a breath of fresh air. I like his fight. I like his winning and culture he's building in with this team. I really enjoy that. However, I think this team has a long way to go, especially on it's up front. Our defense will settle down and be fine. So anyway, with the Allen trade, I think that gets handled in the summer. That's my projection. I don't think it gets done by Friday. I would be in total shock. It's not to say it can't, but I don't see the value up high enough, and I don't know if Hughes is ready just to give him up for what's being offered thus far. And a lot of people, So then you go to Savard, and we know both Hughes and Savard. He's well liked in Montreal. And you know what? I have to say, I think Savard is his leadership qualities and what he does with those kids. I think it's even more valuable than what Matheson's is. I just think because you got to show those defensemen what it is defensively that you need to do, blocking shots and stuff. You can find several guys that have some offensive kick to them. That just comes, with some, especially with the guys we have. These kids, they have a lot of speed, and there's a few of them that have some offensive potential. So I don't think they need to worry with that. I think the leadership and the character, I think he's more valuable, in my opinion, with the kids than any other veteran, back there. I don't think Kovacevic gets the credit he's due. I think he's been more stable than people want to give him credit for. I think he's been our most stable defenseman. We've had ups and downs with everybody. Struvel's been a little more consistent. Uh, so I think, but Struble hasn't been there all season. But he's been solid since he's been there. And he was back in the lineup tonight. He played a half decent game. He did get caught a couple times, though. They got burnt on a goal, too. However, it got a little scary there. Glad to see Marty call that one that McCarron put in it, and that would have given the Preds the win. But I mean, come on, that stick was way high. Good call by Marty to challenge that, and of course, it was so blatantly obvious. But with that being said, it was good. I did not like the way we came out in the first period, to be honest. First period was just brutal to watch, very boring, flat. Second period was pretty much the same thing until we got lucky with Gallagher starting it and Savard coming through. Savard had a really solid game. Really strong game on the defense score. To me, he was the best defenseman out there tonight. Jack, I had a half-decent game. Struble had a half-decent game. Harris, it was all right, but he had a couple shaky moments. But to me, Gooley and Matheson, I wasn't impressed with defensively. Again, I just wish Gooley would stick to his own game and stop taking into his game the same style as Matheson. I think it affects him at what he was good at. So so that's what I say. Savard, the only way Savard gets traded, I would say, with the names, with the rumors, I'm just addressing these rumors, is if it's an outstanding offer. And I see it as he's so valuable to the Habs that he ain't letting him go unless it's a first round pick. And that's what it would have to be. And I tell you the truth, I think some of these teams, because you're going to get them to the end of next season as well. If I was Toronto or I was Tampa, those teams to me, most certainly, even LA could use them, to be honest. Edmonton, even Vancouver. Matter of fact, when you look at it, those 4 or 5 teams right there alone, I think he would be a great player to utilize to give you some help on your push as a third pairing defenseman, like he did when he was with Tampa. What he brings to a team is you can't replace that, and I think he's just too valuable to the Habs, and that's why I don't think he gets traded, because the price is going to be too high. But you never know. It'll only happen if it's somebody's really desperate, and that's the only way. So I see trade deadline. I don't see the Habs doing pretty much anything. I think it'd be a fluke. Someone will have to pay through the roof to make them budge. Anderson, I think you'd be, there was these podcasts went on about him too, and I'd love to see that happen. If I can't see anybody being interested, not for that contract and where his plays at. I can't see it, but hey, man, if a team wants to go for him, go for it. I'd be glad to shake that, because we got to start shaking one or two of these bad contracts. His is one, Galley's is one. Those are contracts. At least Armia. I mean, like I said, I was one of the ones that knocked him too, but he's been one of our better players since he's come back from Laval, and that's pretty shocking. We'll probably think he's 4th in line in his pace and points. So he's at least improved. He just keep that way. But I'd like to see, maybe somebody gets interested in Armia for a playoff push. And really, I think teams should be. I don't think they will be. I think they should be. I think he's proven what he can do in the playoffs, and the way he possesses the puck. He's hard to get off the puck. To me, if I was, again, a team like Tampa, I'd be looking at him. That's for sure. Wasn't overly impressed with Harvey Pinard's game. He was only one game back, though. However, I loved Roy's game and the poise that he made some beautiful defensive plays. He stopped some chances that would have been in the net. his whole game to me was beautiful tonight, and it has been. He's in, to me, I can't see him going back unless they want to just give him some time with Laval to see if they can get Laval in the playoffs. But other than that, he's a Hab. He's got a spot next year onward for sure. I'd say I like what he brings. He's a smart hockey player and has the grit, all of the above. So anyway, so like I said, we just dealt with Savard, Matheson, the same thing. Unless it's through the roof, I don't see them being a first round pick. They're not going to unload him. Those would be the two defensemen I would want to unload at least one of those two. And I think I would rather hold on to Savard. He's he's just means too much to those kids. He's improved their game, and I don't think it would hurt to have another season uh, for the kids to learn even more, get that much more comfortable until next trade deadline. So that would be my choice. Not everybody's going to agree. I just think for me, if you get the right offer, and it would have to be the right offer. They all have to be the right offer because right now these players, same thing with Harris. There seems to, again, these podcasters want to run because they don't want to give Harris, they want to put him in that boat. The credit he's due. Writers do it too because he's not flashy. But his consistency and his composure and his pass out is so clean. Getting it out of the bar end, I don't think he should be on that list. But he probably has interest because people know his ceiling is much higher than a lot like the Kovacevic or the Savard in the future, right? He's fast and he's young and up and coming. So and to me, I prefer him defensively over Barron. To me, I think if there's somebody on the young side, it would be Barron, who I'd have out there for trade bait. That would be my choice. Everybody else would stay put until time goes. Uh, you could still hang on. Although, like I say, again, I don't foresee it. And we know the forwards. No one's going to be interested in Pearson either, I don't think. I think his contract's a little high for people's taste buds, but would be good for a push on a team. Just the leadership and his game, on the third or fourth line on a team. Fourth line, I think more so. Um, Other than that, I think we should be open to everything, but it's going to have to be a trade that blows the socks off of Hughes, and I don't foresee that coming. I think teams are too strapped to the cap, and I think the damage Montreal did with getting rid of Monahan was our big move by trade deadline. So my projection, we'd be lucky to see one more move. Lucky. I don't see it, but we may get one move. That would be about it. I think most of our moves will be draft day, and off season we'll make most of our big moves. So that being said, thank you for joining me. Where's the Puck Drop first here at Center Heights Productions. Tell your friends about it. Leave your comments. Tell me what you think about the discussion of the trade deadline and what you thought of tonight's game. I honestly thought, truthfully, until the third period, the tail end of the second, which was not long, the Preds deserved this game, honestly. They outplayed us, but we woke up with those two quick goals. But I liked seeing our fight and our composure coming back. We hung with it and finally got the victory. And they got the monkey off the back of finally beating the Preds. So that being said, thank you for following. We will catch you in the review against the Habs go to visit the Hurricane. Well, and I expect that to be no contest. Carolina all the way. And then we'll see I don't know if I'll do anything special for a trade deadline day because I don't foresee a whole lot. I'll come on air if there's a trade made to make a video. That's about it. So thank you for joining me, and we'll catch you next review. God bless.